Well, here we are. Beautiful night. Welcome to all to the commencement for the Washington University School of Medicine for the class of 2022. I'd now like to invite our faculty and our graduates to be seated. And I would like to welcome all of the families and our guests of the class of 2022 to this beautiful night. Before we get started, I would like to give a shout out. We are very lucky tonight to have our Chancellor, Andrew Martin, and also Rich Leikwig, CEO of BJC Healthcare, our hospital partner, to be with us. Let me first It is my pleasure now to introduce Dr. Carla Pugh, who was selected by the class of 2022 to make the keynote address at this ceremony. Dr. Pugh is the Thomas Crummell Professor of Surgery at Stanford University School of Medicine and Director of the Technology-Enabled Clinical Improvement Center. Her clinical area of expertise is acute care surgery, and her research involves the use of simulation, advanced engineering technologies, and artificial intelligence to develop new approaches for assessing and defining mastery in clinical procedural skills. Dr. Pugh is considered to be a leading international expert on the use of sensors and motion tracking technologies for performance improvement and measurement. Dr. Pugh holds multiple patents on the use of sensor and data acquisition technology to measure and characterize hands-on clinical skills. Currently, over 200 medical and nursing schools are using one of her sensor-enabled training tools for their students and trainees. Her work has received numerous awards from medical and engineering organizations, including the Presidential Early Career Award for Scientists and Engineers from President Barack Obama at the White House in 2011. In 2014, she was invited to give a TED-Med talk on the potential uses of technology to transform how we measure clinical skills in medicine. She has an undergraduate degree from UC Berkeley in neurobiology and a medical degree from Howard University School of Medicine. Upon completion of her surgical training at Howard University Hospital, she attended Stanford University to obtain her PhD in education. Her goal is to use technology to change the face of medical and surgical education, and as I have come to know her, she is brilliant, talented, and an incredible role model, and we're so happy she's here with us today. Carla, please come forward.
So imagine you had an amazing idea that would change the face of healthcare as we know it. More specifically, this idea was previously tested with thousands of physicians over a 10-year period, and you received the same feedback every single time. This is amazing. Wow, I can't wait till it's implemented. At the same time, you were receiving high accolades and praise from over 95% of the people you encountered. There was always a constant few that asked, what are the risks? So how would you go about managing your awareness of the risk? Would you take note of them and keep a tally or a diary and develop a strategic plan to address the risk on your own? Would you enlist those who warned you and work with them towards obtaining more information about the potential risk and how they may play out in hindering your quest for change? And lastly, would you just press forward, implement your idea, and deal with the risk as they appear? Because in your mind, you are quite sure that you and your team could handle the wind. I'm teasing. That you and your team could handle the risk as they surface, if they ever did. So while I'm quite sure that there is no perfect answer, I am sure that there are huge benefits and risks that come with each of the options I presented. The other thing I know is that all of you in the audience as leaders in healthcare will face this scenario at some point in your career. The scale and magnitude may differ, as well as the situation, the content, and the people, but ultimately, whatever path you take will lead to what I call a learning journey. A journey that is characterized by difficult but exciting decisions. And so my personal learning journey has actually been quite exciting. I have stories of great success, but I also have a few epic failures, many of which I would have preferred reading about. And when taken all together, the culmination of these experiences is what shaped you as a leader. So my question to you, the WashU School of Medicine class of 2022, are you ready? And I need an answer right here and now. Are you ready to begin your next learning journey? All right. Now, I was fully prepared for a lackluster response in need of resuscitation because you all are distracted by the excitement of the day. But you all sound pretty well perfused, so I will call off the epinephrine drip. So what I would submit to you is that this next journey is quite different than the one you just completed. The journey that ends today marks a monumental achievement, an achievement that is marked by high-stakes testing at every corner and facet of your life, the declarative type of high-stakes testing that you have endured queries whether you possess the content knowledge necessary to be a physician. While the clinical acumen type of high-stakes testing queries whether you possess the ability to conduct a systematic review of patient symptoms and present your findings to an experienced group of clinicians as well as the patient and their family in such a way that you are deemed entrusted to continue to carry out this coveted activity and relationship with those who trust you with their lives. So the fact that you are sitting here means that you have passed those high-stakes tests and you are fully ready for the next chapter that is the story of your life as a healthcare practitioner. Class of 2022, please give yourself a round of applause. So let's talk about the next chapter in your life. And I must say to you, the WashU School of Medicine class of 2022, that I have very high expectations for you. You have trained in one of the best medical schools in the country. You are graduates of a pandemic. You are graduates of an era marked by debates and protesting regarding racial justice. And our country has never been more polarized than it is right now. And personally, I cannot imagine what you have experienced. 1 minute, you're triaging a cardiac patient that just arrived in the OR. The next minute, you're in the operating room learning to achieve hemostasis with electrocautery Bovie, all while trying not to get COVID. These are unprecedented times, yet you made it. So how many of you went to medical school because you knew at an early age what type of physician you wanted to be? Show of hands. Not many. I knew I was an outlier. In 9th grade, I decided I wanted to be a craniofacial reconstructive surgeon after watching a documentary as part of a high school science class. Obviously, I had no idea that acute care surgery would become a new fandangled specialty and that this would be my clinical focus. Yet choosing surgery as my specialty was a critical decision that would forever define and characterize my learning journey. So I'm sure that many of you believe that the best thing about finishing residency and fellowship is having a critical jump in your salary. And I would submit to you that the money does help. However, before you race to the finish line and become practicing clinicians, I have to let you in on a little secret. The learning journey during residency is not only where you learn to take care of patients and specific disease processes, but this is where you learn your true protoplasmic makeup as a leader. This part of the learning journey is the starter culture to personal and professional success. And there is no question that you have to go through this journey with your eyes wide open, being fully present and purposeful in learning about yourself and hacking into your true protoplasmic makeup. So during residency, I was extremely frustrated with the lack of interoperability between OR computer databases and medical records, and I was also frustrated with some of the surgical atlases because they did not give enough information about the operations that I wanted to learn. In my heart, I knew there was a better way to achieve major improvements in information access and exchange. The only problem is that during the time of my residency, the world was not a digital society. There was no social media. There wasn't even the internet. That was something that the military used. In fact, our cell phones had antennas the size of your pinky finger, and we did not have touch screens or cell phone apps. I'm dating myself. I was so frustrated with the paucity of ways to accelerate information exchange that I took a major career detour that ultimately would lead me to pursue a PhD in education and technology after my residency. The title of my thesis was Evaluating Medical Simulators for Training. The research involved placing sensors on medical training mannequins and capturing data that detailed the amount of time people took to perform a physical exam on the model, as well as how much time they spent in each anatomical location. In addition, we quantified how much palpation pressure they applied in each of the anatomical locations. And now I have to pause and say that the data were amazing, beautiful, multicolored force profiles that told a story about human touch and haptics that we had never seen before. 1 year after my dissertation, I would receive my first patent, which I then licensed to one of the largest simulation companies in the country, and they distributed the first ever sensor-enabled mannequin. Clearly, this was a very exciting part of my learning journey. And when you go back and dissect how could that have happened, it all boils down to the major life hack, number one, and that's getting a PhD in education. Some of my colleagues thought my decision to do this was amazing, and they were very encouraging, while others could not figure out why I went off the off-beaten path. Why on earth would a surgeon get a PhD in education, they would say. We're all educators. So while the majority of my surgeon colleagues weren't quite sure what to do with me, there were a few that were convinced I was headed towards something that would make a major contribution one day. 5 years into my first faculty position, I would learn that I was the first surgeon in the US to obtain a PhD in education. 7 years into my first faculty position, I would obtain my first multi-million-dollar NIH grant to collect sensor data from thousands of physicians to quantify clinical performance excellence and enable a digital transformation of learning. I received a perfect score on that grant, and that's what landed me and my research team a trip to the White House to meet President Obama. It was at this moment that I would go from the starter culture learning journey to spurts of rapid growth and decentralized colonization. Last year, I was inducted into the National Academy of Medicine for pioneering sensor technology research that helped to inspire new and innovative performance metrics for the emerging field of digital healthcare, and this is the newest spark that set me on the next part of my learning journey, And I think as you hear this, you realize the learning journey is a life journey. And one of the most important things I learned in this process is that innovation can be isolating. People will not always understand or believe in your passion, but it is up to you to honor your passion, give it meaning so that others will partner with you. Use storytelling, elevator pitches, marketing tools, anything that can facilitate collaboration and success. And to be successful in this process, there are 3 things that you must do. Hang out with incredibly successful people, either in person or on YouTube. I watch a lot of videos. Take a deep dive and learn your own personal gifts. The thing that frustrates you the most is directly related to your gift. Discover it, harness it, share it. And lastly, forge a path forward even if it takes you off the beaten path. And as you might have guessed, I am actually that person I talked about in the beginning of this speech. I had an amazing idea that I believe would change the face of healthcare as we know it. Thousands of physicians are big fans of my work, and a small percentage are there to warn me. I'm keeping a diary of their warnings. I'm pressing forward. There's momentum, there's excitement, and I'm taking stock of who I am, and I am strategically modifying my dreams and expectations at each step along the way. So my final words to you, the WashU School of Medicine, Class of 2022, as you close this chapter today and enter into your residency, I urge you to fully commit to the learning journey. Take stock of the high accolades and be purposeful in hacking a pathway that addresses the risk. Take stock in who you are. Build bridges, friendships, and collaborations that will help you hack your way across the valleys that stand in the way of success. And finally, continuously perfect and share the elevator pitch that shares your dreams for the benefit of your patients and the healthcare system. Thank you for what you have done. Thank you for what you will continue to do, and congratulations to you and your families.
Thanks so much, Carla. It's now my pleasure to introduce Dr. Neil Raval as the graduate who will introduce the Teacher of the Year Awards. Neil?
Thank you, Dean Perlmutter. In 1966, the graduating seniors inaugurated a Teacher of the Year Award to be presented to the member of the full-time faculty who, in the graduate's opinion, was the outstanding teacher whom they had encountered during their medical school years. Since 1970, each graduating class has selected 2 individuals, one from the preclinical faculty and another from the full-time clinical faculty, to receive a Teacher of the Year Award. This year's preclinical awardee is a true Washington University lifer who was once a medical student, a resident, a fellow, and currently is an attending physician here. He has been woven into and continues to strengthen the fabric of Washington University School of Medicine. Nowhere are his contributions more evident than in his role as the second-year cardiology course director. Now, let me assure you that reading an EKG might be one of the most challenging skills that medical students must learn. The array of squiggles on graph paper can disorient the novice medical student, but becomes a roadmap of the heart's electricity and function to the professional. Mastering this skill can clinch a diagnosis and save a patient's life. Getting to that point requires time and practice, but it has been that much easier with the teaching style of Dr. Justin Sadhu. Yep. Dr. Sadhu's approach to education is one of patience, helpful feedback and genuine dedication. For example, when the cardiology exam gave me some palpitations, he set aside 2 hours to meticulously review every one of my questions. And we all breathed a collective sigh of relief when Dr. Sadhu returned during the 4th-year capstone course to gift us with even more cardiology pearls just in time before residency. A few of the closing thoughts he left us at the end of the course still resonate. Number 1, always seek to learn from your patients, your juniors, your seniors, and from one another. Number 2, we all make mistakes. Understand them and learn from them. And number 3, give back when you can. True to his word, he has given us so much. It is my honor to introduce the 2022 Preclinical Teacher of the Year Award to Dr. Justin Sadhu. In 1979, Dr. Sidney S. Pearl, an alumnus of the class of 1932, established an award for inspirational teaching. Dr. Pearl stipulated the awardee was to be chosen by the graduating class from among the clinical faculty. The awardee receives a plaque, and the awardee's departmental affiliation receives a monetary gift. Now, as many of you know, the type A personality of the medical student can make for an anxious bunch. But few medical school milestones gift us with our first gray hairs more readily than the surgery clerkship. This year's clinical awardee is a distinguished member of numerous professional societies, has pioneered several minimally invasive surgical techniques, and published a library of articles with his mentees. However, to the class of 2022, he is best known as the surgeon who turns medical student anxiety into confidence. I'll never forget his chalk talk during the clerkship. He took us on a journey through the anatomy, pathology, and treatment of the entire gastrointestinal tract. With a humble dry erase marker, he seamlessly united the basic and clinical sciences better than any surgical textbook I could find. Outside of lectures, he went above and beyond to meet the particular challenges of teaching in a surgical environment. In the OR, where scrub caps and surgical masks rendered students anonymous or interchangeable, he remembered everyone's names, their interests, and their questions. And when complex anatomy and small incisions make it challenging for anyone besides the surgeon to feel involved or appreciate what's going on, he never failed to explain the steps of a procedure in a language that everyone could understand. And in the high-stress environment that is the operating room, he is calm and collected, warm and forgiving, and always ready with a dad joke. I'm proud to present the Sidney S. Pearl Clinical Teacher of the Year for 2022 to Dr. Michael Awad.
Thanks, Neil. It's now time for me to give some remarks, and on behalf of the faculty who are up here on this stage, we are all so very proud of you today. When you began your journey here at WashU, you could hardly have imagined the impact of a global pandemic and how that has changed every aspect of our lives. To say that the last 2 years have been particularly challenging for our healthcare professionals would be a profound understatement. We have had to be flexible, creative, patient, resilient, and so many other things all at once in order to serve our community through the surges brought on by COVID-19. I have been in leadership in academic medicine for more than 30 years, and now that I have seen what was needed to respond to the worst healthcare crisis in a century, I am convinced that there is one quality that makes all the difference. One piece of advice that I can give you as you move on into your careers. Never stop being a student. Now, I know how this sounds. Here you are at the end of a long journey, high school, college, medical school, testing, getting A's, and after years of diligently studying and practicing and perfecting and excited to finally be moving on into the world as a true professional. And here are your loved ones as well, so thrilled that they will finally see you close the educational chapter of your life. All of your friends have already been out in the workforce and have gleefully forgotten about studying. Some of them are already earning six figures and not looking back. Yes, you and your family see this as the moment when you are no longer a kid. And here I am telling you to stay a student. Why am I saying this? There's a Japanese Zen term called shoshin that translates as, quote, beginner's mind, and refers to cultivating an approach of introspection, an attitude of being open to ideas that run counter to what you may believe. It is thought of as a way to prevent yourself from being dogmatic. According to the Zen philosophy, if you cultivate a beginner's mind and think of yourself as a perpetual learner, you may find that you can more easily adapt to new situations and more capably tackle unforeseen problems. Over the pandemic and confronting its impact, I have been trying to channel this Shoshin philosophy myself. I realized again how much I love being a student and how much I love to learn new things, how much it has enabled and enriched what I do in my job. I have noticed being able to be more present when I'm with friends and family, appreciating the world outside of medicine. Here I am, having gone through every single phase of maturation in a medical career, and now even as the leader of the best medical school in the world. I still find myself in new situations each day. But when I approach them as a student, studying, researching, and preparing myself, it allows me to embrace the challenge and bring out my best traits. On some days I find myself thinking about leadership itself in this way. What should I be doing more? How can I have more of an impact today and push the envelope to bring more value and vision for the future? Luckily, there are people who study this very thing. And another way to think about the beginner's mind is what psychologist Carol Dweck calls, quote, the growth mindset, or the belief that cherished qualities can be developed. I want to say that again. Cherished qualities can be developed. And Dweck argues that this has been the key element of successful careers. As you move on from today, there will inevitably be moments of challenge and crisis. And you will also face moments that are far more mundane, but laden with the potential for growth and change, if you approach them as a learner. In all of those moments, knowing what you don't know is essential. And in our line of work, it can be the difference between life and death. This is why we stay up to date on the journals and publications and go to meetings. It's why we take the time to talk to our patients, ask the questions that can give us a window into their lives, and the key to providing them with what they most need from us. It's why we commit ourselves to the minute details of lab results and subtle changes in physical and mental state. This is why we embrace the culture and philosophy of improvement. Everything we do in our profession must be about improvement. The understanding that we have never reached the height of our knowledge or powers is the key to someday solving our most intractable problems. I say some days because one of the most important lessons you have no doubt learned in these last few years is how much we don't understand about many human diseases and how too often we don't know how to prevent or treat them. You have learned that in the world of medical care, there are some painful inevitabilities, some moments in which we know there is no answer, no remedy. You have seen this more times than you expected when you first started medical school. But it is ultimately what drives all of medicine and scientific research. It is what compels us to put in long hours in the lab, to ask new questions and seek new answers. The philosopher Eric Hoffer talks about how this attitude of always learning and chasing improvement is an innately human condition. We are at our best. We are able to live up to our greatest potential when we think of ourselves as unfinished and capable of being better. As we send you off to the next stage of your professional lives, I want to first thank you on behalf of all of our faculty, fellows, residents, and staff for all that you have brought to us, keeping us on our toes and in the moment. And I encourage you to keep nourishing your inner student, to take that strong desire to learn and seek and ask questions that brought you to Wash U School of Medicine and use it to power you in this next stage of what will undoubtedly be brilliant careers. And of course, Dr. Seuss had the best way to describe what I just spent a lot of time saying. The more you read, the more things you will know. The more you learn, the more places you will go. Congratulations, class of 2022, on all your accomplishments and on all of the growth yet to come. It's now my pleasure to invite Dr. Joanna Kim, the president of your graduating class. Joanna?
Good evening, and let me be another person to welcome you to our commencement ceremony today. It is crazy to think how fast the past 4 years flew by. It seemed like it was moments ago that I walked into FLTC, nervous about meeting new people, but you all made it feel like home. I am so excited to be here today as a part of such meaningful and significant ceremony, and I'm honored that I get to share this moment with you. I want to start off by sharing a personal story. I grew up in Seoul, Korea, before immigrating to the United States at the age of 11. When I was young, my dad used to take me to his hometown in rural Korea to show me where he grew up. It was a small farmer's town, around 3-hour train ride away from Seoul. My grandparents were farmers. My grandfather never finished elementary school, and my grandmother never got an education. They passed away before I ever got to know them, but I got little glimpses of them through my dad's stories and whenever I visited their hometown. He always took me up a mountain when we visited. It was a small hike up, full of winding trails and overgrown bushes that obscured the path. But it led to this beautiful, expansive clearing where you could overlook the entire town, and where my dad used to spend hours with my grandparents. When we got there, I remember my dad turning to me and saying, "Shh, listen." And he said, "Your family is here, and they are so proud of you." I think about that a lot, what I did to make them proud at the age of 10. But I know today they are proud of me. I am proud of all of us. Me as a first-generation immigrant, Chinwendu Amazu for becoming a Nigerian and Black physician scientist, Tamara Sanchez Ortiz, whose patients will have another doctor that looks like them and speaks their language, and their daughters will see that they can dream to be whoever and whatever they want to be. Taylor Cogsill for fiercely advocating for women in medicine and guiding peers to help find mentors who look like them. Dylan Newbold for becoming a physician, a dream he had since he was 6, and to do this as the first doctor and college graduate in his family. Alaric D'Souza, who is completing his 26th consecutive year of school and becoming a parent while doing so. Brandon Lippold, who not only rode 6,000 miles per year on his bike while studying, but also becoming the first doctor in his family. And these are only snippets of our incredibly accomplished classmates here today. I also want to acknowledge all of us. Our class will be forever linked with one of the most challenging times in our history. We enter the clinical environment for the first time in the midst of a COVID pandemic. We work through constantly changing environments, took care of patients through all sorts of unknowns, and navigated these challenges despite so much uncertainty. We also grieved through the loss of our classmate, Momoko Oyama, together. In the midst of a pandemic, it was tough to lose our dear classmate. Not being able to mourn the death of a loved one properly, and not being able to hug or sit near each other when saying goodbye. But I saw how our class came together to support each other. It showed the strength of our community and how coming together made us stronger. Today, I am honored to announce that the class of 2022's gift is dedicated to the memory of Momoko Oyama, who was a dear classmate and a friend. This award will be given to future students who embody her kindness and selflessness and demonstrate a commitment for caring for patients and their families. In honor of Momo's memory, I ask that you join us in recognizing a moment of silence. Thank you. This ceremony represents the culmination of our hopes and dreams, acknowledgement of the grit and resilience, the attestation of our family's unwavering support. You all showed me how to push past failures, defy odds, and achieve what we were told we couldn't. I know our time together has made us stronger, more fearless, and more flexible as medical students, and I know from the bottom of my heart that these valuable skills will make us better physicians to our future patients. I want to leave off with this quote I read recently. It is in only one world in infinite universes where this impossible happiness exists, but that's what makes it so valuable. Thank you for making this impossible happiness possible for me, for those around you, and for your future patients. Congratulations again.
Okay, can I ask Chancellor Martin and Dean Agard to join me? And Dr. Is this right? No? What's next? My turn for the oath. Oh. Hang on to a second. Here we are. Okay. 30 years ago, the class of 1984 decided to take a professional oath and chose a modified version of the 1948 Declaration of Geneva. This year, we've asked Dr. Eva Agard, Vice Chancellor and Senior Associate Dean for Medical Education, Carol B. and Jerome T. Loeb, Professor of Medical Education and Professor of Medicine, to lead the class in your oath. Eva, it's your time.
My favorite thing. Okay. Resilient, capable, compassionate, amazing class of 2022, please rise. Faculty and physicians in the audience who choose to recite the oath, please rise. The oath is available for you on the last page of your program. Please join me together. I'll start and then we'll recite it together. All right? As a member of the medical profession, I solemnly pledge to dedicate my life to the service of humanity. The health and well-being of my patient will be my first consideration. I will respect the autonomy and dignity of my patient. I will maintain the utmost respect for human life. I will not permit considerations of age, disease, or disability, creed, ethnic origin, gender, nationality, political affiliation, race, sexual orientation, social standing, or any other factor to intervene between my duty and my patient. I will respect the secrets that are confided in me, even after the patient has died. I will practice my profession with conscience and dignity and in accordance with the good medical practice. I will foster the honor and noble traditions of the medical profession. I will give to my teachers, colleagues, and students the respect and gratitude that is their due. I will share my medical knowledge for the benefit of the patient and the advancement of healthcare. I will attend to my own health, well-being, and abilities in order to provide care of the highest standard. I will not use my medical knowledge to violate human rights and civil liberties, even under threat. I make these promises solemnly, freely, and upon my honor. Please be seated.
Okay, I want to introduce Dr. Lisa Moscoso, Associate Dean for Student Affairs. Dr. Moscoso, will you please come forward to address the class of 2022 and to lead the hooding ceremony?
All right, on behalf of the Office of Student Affairs, I would like to extend congratulations to the class of 2022. So today when you're hooded and you receive your diploma, I get to announce your full names. To prepare for this job, I listened to your recordings, holy cow, like 10 years ago for some of you. And I listened to your names, and I spent time outdoors contemplating each and every one of you. And as I said your names, and I heard your voices, and what I experienced in those moments is the deep joy and pride and privilege that it has been to see you work so hard to get to this day. And as I witnessed Joanna bringing honor and respect to her ancestors, it brought to mind a memory. I was visiting some of the tallest trees on earth near where Dr. Pugh came from. These are old growth redwood forests. Some of these trees are 800 years old and almost a football field tall. And did you know that that ancestral tree, when it falls, supports and nourishes the new growth around where they fall and decay. So you'll see circles and families of coastal redwoods towering above a fallen ancestor. And in this circle, the root system is reinforced and strengthened by intertwining with other roots, creating a strong network of support. And this is what reminded me, when it comes to your achievements, none of us stands alone. We all benefit from the work of our ancestors and depend upon an intertwining, supportive root system that allows you to stand tall. And now it occurs to me, in this moment and present here, our ancestors, some seen with our eyes and some unseen, but present in our memories and in our hearts. And so now, in the presence of everyone here, including your ancestors, I will proclaim the names of our newest doctors. It is time. All right, Will Dean Perlmutter, Chancellor Martin, Dr. Michael Donlin, please come forward now for the hooding and awards. I would like to recognize four of our honorary hooders here, our Teachers of the Year, Dr. Justin Sadhu, Dr. Michael Awad, our Associate Dean for Curriculum, Dr. Thomas Defer, and Director of the MSTP, Dr. Wayne Yokoyama. All right, so the presentation of degrees will have the following format. You'll make your way to the stage and you will be greeted by Dr. Kim. And although a few of our graduates are unable to attend the program today, I shall announce the full name of each graduate of the class of 2022, along with the faculty member who will hood you. You'll then walk across the stage, you'll bump or shake with the chancellor, and you'll receive your diploma cover from Dean Perlmutter and also greet him. So in addition, in your program is a listing of awards and prizes, recognizing the outstanding accomplishments of our graduates. So these awards and prizes, graduates, will be found in your diploma cover. All right, so traditionally, the first Doctor of Medicine degree to be awarded each year goes to the president of the graduating class. Will Dr. Dongyeon Joanna Kim please come forward with your chosen faculty member, Dr. Eva Agard. Yay, Dr. Kim! Good job. All right, there's the example for you. You got it? Excellent. Okay. So the first group of graduates completed 6 years or more of medical and research education and are receiving both a Doctor of Medicine degree and a Doctor of Philosophy degree. Will the first row of graduates please rise and proceed to the stage? As I read your name, you'll cross the stage, meet the faculty member who will hood you, and be congratulated by Dean Perlmutter and Chancellor Martin. First, we have Dr. Joshua Brandon Allender, who could not be with us here today. And first in person, we have Chiwendu Amazu, Dr. Chiwendu Amazu, hooded by Dr. Allison Mitchell. All right, congratulations, Dr. Amazu. Next, we have Dr. Manoj Ara, hooded by Dr. Yusuf Abu Amer. Excellent. Congratulations, Dr. Ara. We next have Dr. J. Bowman Kerrigan, hooded by Dr. Alan Zagarius. Congratulations, Dr. Kerrigan. Dr. Alaric D'Souza, hooded by Dr. Drew Schwartz. And who is this? Callista Joy and Dr. Alaric D'Souza. Woo-hoo. Awesome, congratulations. The next 4 graduates will be hooded by Dr. Wayne Yokoyama, Dr. J. Stephen Leal Ekman, Dr. Gregory C. Fox, Dr. Jose Gabriel Grajales Reyes, Dr. Marianne, Dr. Marianne Morris Ligon McCord, Dr. Tatenda Malakazera could not be with us today, and Dr. Arnav Moggill. Arnav, who do we have with you today? Ruby and Ruby. Is Nico here? No, Nico does not. Okay. Dr. Dylan Newbold, hooded by Dr. Wayne Yokoyama. Dr. Anema Apere Orukari, also hooded by Dr. Wayne Yokoyama. Dr. Deng Pan, hooded by Dr. Susan McKinnon. Dr. Justin Porter, hooded by Dr. Wayne Yokoyama. Dr. Zachary Pollock Rosenthal, who could not be with us today. Dr. Drew Sinha, hooded by Dr. Nuri Farber. Yay. Dr. Arthur Curtis Slutton, who could not be with us today. The next three graduates will be hooded by Dr. Wayne Yokoyama. Dr. Brett A. Tortelli. Dr. Chin and Lee Wang. Dr. Michelle Wegscheid. The following group of graduates will be receiving their medical doctorate degree as well as a Master of Business Administration degree. These graduates will be hooded by Dr. Thomas Defer. Dr. Sophia Schiedler Evans. Dr. James Lancaster could not be with us today. And Dr. Priscilla Stetcher. The following group of graduates will be receiving their medical doctorate degree, as well as their Master of Population Health Science degree. These graduates will be hooded by Dr. Defer, Dr. James Samuel Broughton, Dr. Eiling Chang could not be with us today. Dr. Wesley Tanner Hodges. Dr. Lena S. Gia. And Dr. Iris Quo, hooded by Dr. Andrea Hageman. Dr. Priyanka Parmeswaran will be hooded by Dr. Michael Awad. Dr. Amisha Parikh, also hooded by Dr. Michael Awad. Dr. Tariq Phillips, hooded by Dr. Michael Awad. Dr. Neil Ravel, hooded by Dr. Amy Music. Dr. Eric Simpson Rome and baby Emma. Dr. Arjab Shah, hooded by Dr. Michael Awa. Dr. Yash Tarkunde, also hooded by Dr. Michael Awad. Dr. Lynn Vuong, hooded by Dr. Susan McKinnon. Dr. Tiffany Wu, hooded by Dr. Justin Sadhu. Dr. Maggie Shing, also hooded by Dr. Justin Sadhu. The following graduate will be receiving her medical doctorate degree as well as her Master of Public Health degree. Dr. Tamara Sanchez Ortiz, hooded by Dr. Will Ross. And the following graduates will be receiving their medical doctorate degrees as well as their Master of Science in Clinical Investigation degrees. Dr. Kevin Chen, hooded by Dr. Justin Sadhu. Dr. Zachary Yeager, hooded by Dr. Will Ross. Dr. Ryan David Pappel, who could not be with us today. The next two graduates will be hooded by Dr. Justin Sadhu. Dr. Kathy Yin Yu. And Dr. Jane Yue Yuan. The following graduates will be receiving their Doctorate of Medicine degrees. Dr. Chetan Giri Ambastha, hooded by Dr. Thomas Defer. Dr. Emmanuel Oseraman Arewo, hooded by Dr. Thomas Defer. Dr. Nadia Hannah Baker, hooded by Dr. Michael Awad. Dr. Jennifer Lauren Berrien, hooded by Dr. Will Ross. Dr. Taylor Cogsill, hooded by Dr. Lindley Wall. Dr. Reed Collis, hooded by Dr. Abby Chang. Dr. John Hangyu Dang, hooded by Dr. Thomas Defer. Dr. Lauren Elson, hooded by Dr. Tom Defer. Dr. Hosanna Avier, hooded by Dr. Will Ross. Dr. Benjamin Wells Gaselowitz, hooded by Dr. Tom Defer. Dr. Christine Yuan Go, hooded by Dr. Michael Awad. Dr. Gaurang Gupte, who could not be with us today. Dr. Kelsey Nicole Haddad, hooded by Dr. Michael Awad. Dr. Lindsay Hagberg, hooded by Dr. Michael Awad. Dr. Jane Marilyn Hayes, hooded by Dr. Ian Hageman. Dr. Sandy Huang, who could not be with us today. Dr. Anna Holton, hooded by Dr. Lauren Tatman. Dr. Matthew Hunt, hooded by Dr. Michael Awad. Dr. Brandon Michael Jocker, hooded by Dr. Michael Awad. Who couldn't be with us today. Dr. Emily Ann Johnson, hooded by Dr. Michael Awad. Dr. Amelia Rose Joseph, hooded by Dr. Justin Sadhu. Dr. Skylar Kessler, hooded by Dr. Justin Sadhu. Dr. Jody Law, hooded by Dr. Lauren Tatman. Dr. Monica Lim, hooded by Dr. Lisa Moscoso. Dr. Brandon Lippold, hooded by Dr. Justin Sadhu. Dr. Lillian Ting Liu, hooded by Dr. Justin Sadhu. Dr. Christine Catherine Ma, hooded by Dr. Timothy Yao. Dr. Alexis McGraw, hooded by Dr. Justin Sadhu. Dr. Eric Richard Mittauer, hooded by Dr. Tom Defer. Dr. Eric Robert Nacken, hooded by Dr. Ian Hageman, and it looks like aspiring Dr. Miles. What an adorable white coat. Dr. Melisa Wanyama Namude, hooded by Dr. Will Ross. Dr. Adriana Negaglione Rivera, hooded by Dr. Tom Defer. Dr. Chris Noda, hooded by Dr. Michael Awad. Dr. Andy Nuno, hooded by Dr. Lisa Zicker. Dr. Chukwuka Michael Obiafuma, hooded by Dr. David Brogan. Dr. Armand Odebash, hooded by Dr. Ian Ross. Dr. Joel Kwabina Ofori, hooded by Dr. Will Ross. Dr. Ayodamala Otun, hooded by Dr. David Limbrick. Dr. Christine Jiwan Park could not be with us today. Dr. Talia Pearl, hooded by Dr. Colleen Wallace. You did get your degree, Talia, we promise. Talia Pearl. Dr. Talia Pearl. One of the tables fell over, so. Yes, excellent. All right. Congratulations, Dr. Pearl. Dr. Morgan Ann Pfeiffer, hooded by Dr. Tom Defer. Dr. Priyanka Pullercat, hooded by Dr. Tom Defer. Dr. Lucy Chow, hooded by Dr. Tom Defer. Dr. Michael Rauschenbach, hooded by Dr. Michael Awad. Dr. Stephen Chase Renfro, hooded by Dr. Michael Awad. Dr. Gina Jody Ree and Dr. Olivia Roberts Sano could not be with us today. Dr. Karthik Rohatgi, hooded by Dr. Michael Awad. Dr. Ryan Sachar, hooded by Dr. Michael Awad. Dr. Lauren Alexandra Sachs, hooded by Dr. Michael Awad. Dr. Sydney Brianna Sillart, hooded by Dr. Megan Wren. Dr. Caroline Knight Snowden, hooded by Dr. Justin Sadhu. Dr. Dana Seuss, hooded by Dr. Justin Sadhu. Dr. Sajal Kumar Tiwari, hooded by Dr. Lisa Moscoso. Okay, we're here somewhere. There we go. All right, Dr. Prarak Trivedi, hooded by Dr. Justin Sadhu. Dr. Thomas Robert Van Horn, hooded by Dr. Justin Sadhu. Dr. Adrian Vasani, hooded by Dr. Justin Sadhu. Dr. Michael Vittori, hooded by Dr. Tom Defer. Dr. Alana Bridget Williams, hooded by Dr. Will Ross. Dr. Jason Young, hooded by Dr. Tom Defer. Dr. Sean Yuan, hooded by Dr. Tom Defer. Dr. David Zhang, hooded by Dr. Tom Defer. Dr. Mungo Mary Zhu, hooded by Dr. Matthew Walter. And Dr. Isabel Townsend Siebold, hooded by Dr. Colleen Wallace. Thank you, Chancellor Martin. Thank you, Dean Perlmutter and Dean Donlin. All right, you people in the front, please rise. Ladies and gentlemen, the doctors of the class of 2022. Let's really hear it for them. Woo! This concludes the 2022 Commencement Recognition Ceremony for the Washington University School of Medicine. Faculty and graduates, please rise for the recessional. And good evening, everybody. Congratulations.